Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Coding Bytes. I am Tinza, an educator at Coding Lab. Today, technology is getting more advanced, and the world is increasingly adopting technology. Some common things we see everywhere is the use of QR codes. For example, at restaurants when we go out to eat and scan for the menu, or at shops when we want to make payment using apps like PayNow. In today's episode of Coding Bytes, we'll be learning how we can create our very own QR code generator, so that when people scan our QR codes, they will go to the website that we want. We'll be making use of modules, user inputs, and methods in our program. So now, let's take a look at what we'll be doing today. Here is the program we'll be creating. At the start of the program, we are able to see two introductory statements that describe what this program does. Later on, you'll be able to customize this introductory message. Next, we will need some details from the user before we can generate the QR code. First thing we need is the website that we want to use. You can enter any website that you would like. I will enter the Coding Lab website. Then enter to move on. After this, we will need the file name that we want to save the QR code image file as. This will enable us to find the file easily later on. I will just name it as Coding Lab website. Then enter to move on. Python will now generate the QR code, and this message will appear once it is complete. There is also this pop-up window that appears to show you the QR code. However, do take note that this is just a preview. So even if you close this, you will still be able to find the image file saved under this name in the same folder where you have saved your Python file. So you can see the file over here, and if I open it, it will show you the QR code image. So that's it. Let's get started on creating our QR code generator. As we're creating a Python program today, I am making use of Python 3.10.4 software. Feel free to use any software which supports Python or install Python using the link in our description box below. To create the QR code, we'll be making use of modules. Modules are Python files created by others, and they contain one or more functions or classes. They help us perform predefined tasks by making use of code done by other programmers. There are many modules available, and all of their documentation can be found online, so feel free to check them out. For today's program, we'll be only using two modules, QR code and PNG. Before we can use these modules, we will need to install them. So for Windows users, please open Command Prompt, and for Mac users, please open Terminal. Once you have opened Command Prompt or Terminal, we will begin installing the QR code module using the command pip install QR code and enter to begin installation. Mine says requirement already satisfied since I've already installed it, but on your device, installation should begin. If there's any error, you can try the alternative commands in the description box below. After this, we will begin installing the second module, the PNG module. To do that, we'll enter the command pip install py-png. Again, enter to begin installation. If there's any error, you can try the alternative commands in the description box below. Once both have been installed, we can now make use of both modules in our Python program. Now let's get back to our Python file. After we have installed the modules, we can now use them. Python has many functions, but not everything is built inside the software. That is why we will need to import in the modules to use them. So first, to use the QR code module, I will type in import QR code. Next, to use the PNG module, I will use import PNG. Then, as mentioned earlier, modules have many functions and classes. In this case, for the QR code module, we will be using a specific part called QR code to generate the QR code. So to do that, I will type in from QR code import QR code. Please ensure that you are copying the exact uppercase and lowercase as me, as Python is case sensitive. So with that, we are done with the prep work. Let us now get started on the main part of the program. If you remember the previous section earlier, there was an introductory message that described what this program does. I have added my introductory statements, 2 of them, with the print function. So please feel free to customize your own message. You can use one print statement or have more than 2. Just ensure that you have the open and the close brackets as well as the open and close quotation marks. After this, we will need some details before we can generate the QR code. Firstly, we will need the website that we want to use. So to ask for this information, I will use the input function. I will first declare a variable called URL to store the information in. This equal sign is to assign the information to this variable. Then I will use the input function. Then inside I'll have the question that I want to ask. What is the website we want to use? Next, the second piece of information I need is the file name that I want to save the QR code image file as. So I will declare a variable called file name equals to assign it, add information into it, then input again. Then over here, I will type what file name would you save it as. So similarly to the previous input, just make sure you have your brackets and your quotation marks. As for this file, we want to save it as an image file. So to save it as a PNG file, I will need to add the .png. To do that, after input, I will have a plus, then quotation marks again, then inside the quotation marks, .png. So with that, we are done with this section. Now that we have all the information we need from the user, let us get started on creating the QR code. To do that, we'll need to make use of methods that are inside our modules. So the 2 modules are PyQR code and PNG. There are a lot of methods in these modules, so please feel free to look up the documentation online. In today's program, we'll just be using a few of these methods. Firstly, to create the QR code, we will use the method PyQRcode.create. So I will first create a QR variable equals then the PyQRcode.create method. Then inside the brackets, we will put in the website that we want to link the QR code to, which is stored in the URL variable. Now that we have created the QR code, let us save it as an image file. To do that, we will need to make use of the method PNG. Since this method is specifically for the QR code, I will use the dot notation. So QR dot PNG. Then inside these brackets, I will put in the file name that I want to save it as, which is inside the variable file name. I can also choose to adjust the size of my QR code. So after this, I will add a scale. The default scale is 1, so to increase the size, I will put it as 6. But please feel free to customize this number. Next, I will use the show method. So similarly as before, for the PNG method, I will use the dot notation, QR.show. This is to show the preview image. Afterwards, to make it obvious that the program has completed the generation of the QR code, I will add in a print statement. So over here, I will just say QR code is generated, but please feel free to customize this message. So now let us run the module to see what this program looks like. Once you run the program, you will see the introductory message as well as the question asking for the website. So you can enter your own URL here. Then they will ask the file name that we want to save it as. So let me just enter. Then once the program is done running, this will appear along with this pop-up window with a preview of the QR code. And if you go to the folder, you will see the image file that has been created. So you can see it here. And there you go. You have completed the QR code generator program. With that, we've come to the end of this episode. I hope you've learned something with me today. Do give us a like if you've enjoyed this video and click subscribe for more Coding Bytes content. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!